Welcome back to my channel, guys. Something feels weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm sitting. I don't know what the vibe is. I don't know what's weird, but I feel weird, but it's okay. As you guys saw in the title, today we'll be doing my December reading wrap up. Oh my freaking gosh, was December a long month. The thing is that for me, I feel like December genuinely felt like it was two parts. Like the beginning of December was 1 month and the ending of December was a whole nother month. I don't feel like it was like the same thing, but you know, it's fine. We made it. We're alive. So anyway, Happy New Year as well because yeah, this is going up the day after New Year. So Happy New Year, guys. This year I'm so excited. I just really am excited to see what God has for me, for this channel, just for my family. I'm just so excited to see what is going to go down in 2024. But yes, first, if you guys like monthly reading wrap-ups, if you guys like talking about books, if you guys like all the nerdy things, then definitely give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's just get started. Every time I sit down to film, I just start to sweat, and I'm like, it's not even hot, but it's so annoying. All right, let's jump in. I read a lot of books this month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think about 16 books, maybe 17, depending on what I finish today. Anyway, but you'll see why I read so many at the end. But let's just start off with the beginning of the month. If you guys don't know, I like to do this video every month. We talk about all the books that I read the month before. So I started off this month. There it is. I was like, what? I actually did a video, I believe, like, mood reading for a week. I think this was in it, but this is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I love this book so much. I love this series. I'm addicted, and I just can't get enough. This cover I love as well. But this, if you guys don't know, is the From Blood and Ash series. And so I think this is book, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, book 4, I believe. And so it's just a good one. So this one is, I don't want to explain too much because it's hard when you don't read like any of the series, but basically it's a war of two queens. Yeah. It's a good one. Anyway, then I read, I gave that, how many stars? 5 stars, which I should have known that. But then I read Crossed by Emily McIntyre. I love this book as well. This is super dark. It is super, if you guys don't know, the Never After series by Emily McIntyre is open door, very spicy, that whole vibe. But there, she writes dark romances. This one is very dark, like, very spooky dark. And, like, if you do not like that, do not even, like, this is, some of her other books, I'm like, even if you don't like dark romances, it might be fine, because it's not, like, over the top. No, this one is over the top. But I still gave it 4.5 stars. Next year, I'm getting harsher with my ratings. You'll see at the end of this month, too, some of my ratings are a little bit harsher, and they're not even harsh. They're still good ratings, but I feel like they make a little bit more sense at the end, towards the end of the month, because I'm like, if I have like a bunch of problems with it and I still give it 4 stars, you know, that's a problem. So anyway, but this one I gave 4.5 stars. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was good. And then yes. Then I read Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. I can't decide if I like this one or Twisted Games better, because I like Twisted Games, but I feel like it's very, like, it has the recipe for a good book. Like, so it's like, even if she was a pretty horrible writer, I probably would still like it, because in general, the tropes and just everything were so good that it's hard to mess that up, in general. But I feel like this one, honestly, is just in general, even just the writing, the way she approaches everything about this is honestly so good. And so I think I like this one better. You could definitely tell her growth as an author in this, and I love this. I just think everything was thought out. The Twisted Lies are a little bit twisted. They have a little bit of, like, crazy things going on, but, like, and the twisted part of this isn't weird or, like, I don't want to say unnecessary, but I feel like some of them are, like, far-fetched. You're like, okay, seriously? Like, Twisted Love was, the whole time I was just like, seriously? But this one, I feel like it just made sense. You know, everything made sense. It made sense. That's all I should say. Anyway, I gave that 4.5 stars, which I did really enjoy that book. Okay, then we get into my holiday reads, which this is where I feel like I read those holiday books mad long ago, but it was only a couple weeks. I don't know. Our first holiday romance book of the year was Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I don't even know how I found this. I think I was just looking on like Kindle Unlimited or something like that, or it popped up on my Kindle. I don't know. But I'm so glad that I freaking read this because this book was so good. I thought it was so fun. This is like friends to lovers, but the way they are friends is actually super unique because they both are from, I don't know where it's from. Ireland. It is Ireland. I was gonna say that, but then I was like, I don't know if it's Ireland, but it is Ireland. They both go to Ireland from wherever they are, and so every year they go home for Christmas, but they're always on the same flight. So it's just a good time. I thought it was super fun, and the back has so much on it. Oh my gosh, it just tells you the whole story. I thought her writing was super fun, super breezy, and I enjoyed like everything about this. No complaints. I gave that a 4.5 star. Oh no, I gave that a 5 star. I was gonna say, wait, I had no complaints. I honestly, that just felt like a really good book. And that's what I think a lot of people say, like this 5-star feeling. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But like, I get it now when you're not such a generous rater. Like it just feels right. And this book just felt so good. Everything about it was like so good. So I'm like, yeah, 5 stars. All right, then I read Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. Oh my gosh, I also gave this 5 stars. Okay, this one I probably would change the rating just a little bit, just probably like a 4.5 if in general, but I literally enjoyed this book. I thought it was so much fun. I thought it was a good time. It just is very like, it's exactly what you expect from a holiday romance. I feel like it's just very corny, very cheesy. You laugh a lot. It's very cliche though. It's very like, it's like a very corny is the word, but you enjoy it. At least I enjoyed it. And I loved it so much. I'm excited to read. I bought the next one in like the series. They're interconnected standalones, and so I'm excited to keep reading. I like B.K. Borison's writing. It's fun. It's breezy. I actually listened to this on Audible. I don't know why particularly, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time, and I'm glad I read that one. Alright, then, oh my gosh, then we went downhill. Okay, we didn't stay downhill, but we dipped real quick, and then we're gonna go back up. But next I read One Day in December by Josie Silver. This was so anticipated for me. Like, I literally had this book forever. Like, I bought it when it was a couple dollars. It's so beat up, and it's not my doing. It's someone else's doing, which I'm actually fine. I did not pay a lot of money for this book because I did not enjoy this. I just felt like it was too long. I felt like it was just not... It wasn't giving a December romance. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like there was a lot of... Okay, so the premise of this one, I did a whole video on this one too, so if you want to see more in depth, but basically the premise of this one is that this girl is on the train, and she's on like a bus or whatever, and then she sees this guy, and it's basically love at first sight. She's like, oh my gosh, so she spends a year trying to find this guy. Well, when she finds him, again, this is all in the back, so it's not really spoiling, but she sees him again. When she finally finds him, he's dating her best friend. So it's chaos, and like that was cute at first. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? Like how are you gonna do this? It just dragged on, and then there's a specific way to make that right. You either have to have a crappy best friend, and then it's like you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, he needs to leave her and be with this girl, or like there's a specific way you have to do it, because then it's just wrong if the girl takes him from her best friend. You know what I mean? Like without like real reason, then it was love at first sight, you know what I mean? So it was just very particular, and she did it well. I just feel like it was too long. Like it made sense, it was too long, but then there's too many like, I just felt like it was a lot. And then if you don't know, it goes basically by date. It's like every chapter is a new date. So it could be like a year in advance, a month in advance. Like it's too much. It's too much. Honestly, I genuinely felt like it was just too much. Do not recommend. I gave it 3 stars. Do not recommend. I'd probably, again, if I'm being for real, I'd probably give it like 2.5 stars, because 3 stars, I feel like I still could recommend it, but like, whatever. Okay, then we went uphill again. Then we read Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. So this is the interconnected standalone to Holiday Romance. So you read Holiday Romance first, then this one. It doesn't really matter, but like it does spoil a little bit if you read this one first. If you want to read both, I should say. I also gave this freaking 5 stars. I thought this book was so good. It's so much fun. And I feel like this is what I like this one so much, because it's not like you think, oh, Snowed In. It says old friends, fake flames, new feelings. you think that you know what it's gonna be, but you don't. It's feel like it's super unique. It's just super interesting, and honestly, like, you're addicted. The beginning, you start off and you're like, oh my gosh, like, hooked, and then it just keeps going. It's super fast paced, and again, you just have a good time. I loved this one. I laughed. I freaking was in this book. Like, I was there with them. I enjoyed that so much. Okay, then I read A Soul of Ash and Blood. Well, I finished A Soul of Ash and Blood. I think I was reading it, like, throughout, or listening to this one. So this I gave 5 stars as well. I genuinely love this series so much. I don't know if I'd give any of the books under 5 stars. This one at first though, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. This is bad news. But it went uphill, like I said. This one is, it got better by the end of it. This one is actually, it's one of those books that I feel like should have came out at the end of the series after she was done with the series. So this is basically the first book in Castile's perspective. So if you guys don't know, Poppy Castile from Blood and Ash, the first book, Poppy's like this maiden, and then Castile's her guard, and so you see a bunch of stuff play out. This is basically, so Poppy in this one ends up like, she's asleep for some reason, like, if you read them, you'll figure it out, but basically, he needs to, they tell him, like, you have to talk to her and, like, tell her a story, like, talk to her so she doesn't forget you, basically, and so then this whole story is basically him telling Poppy about his, like, perspective and all that stuff, and so you basically get to see his perspective of the first book, which is not a bad idea. I just felt like, you're in this story, we're 4 books in, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? And then it goes back to the first book, and you're like, okay, calm. So I started it, and I literally could not keep going. I literally had to stop and read something else. Like, I read a whole bunch of books. I started this on the 4th. I didn't finish it until the 24th because I was like, yeah, no. But then when you get into it, you really do enjoy it. It's actually super fun and fresh. And I really like seeing his perspective. I just wasn't, again, like, if you read it back to back, you're kind of like, no. But then when you give it time, you're like, oh yeah. So I did give it 5 stars. I just love these books so much. All right, then we have another 5-star. This is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I got this for Christmas, and I was gonna read the whole series this week, but I was like, let me not. This one actually is really, really fun. So if you guys don't know, this is like Criminal Minds. Oh my gosh. This is like kids YA Criminal Minds. So it's a bunch of kids who just are really like, they have these things about them. They're like, it's not necessarily superpowers. So I thought they were superpowers. They're not necessarily superpowers. They just have really good, like, I guess, intuition or whatever about certain things. So this one girl is like, she knows when people are lying, and like, so I guess it's a superpower, but like, not really. The main girl, she's very she's a good analyst, whatever. She can tell you, like, behaviors, or like what you're gonna eat, or like what you're gonna choose to eat, or like she knows, like, oh, if you're single, you're married, blah, blah, blah. Like, she knows that, but like, not really knows that, but like, she can guess that, basically. I don't know how to explain that. Anyway, so this one, basically, it says to catch a serial killer, you have to think like one. Basically, all these kids are together, and they want to just train them, essentially, but then there's this case that they're kind of like, oh no, we want in. So you see how that played out. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little, I get spooked really easily. Like, really genuinely easily. And so this one, I was a little bit like spooked out, but I read it in one night. I was super fast, but I was like, overnight, I was like, oh my gosh. Because it's creepier than you think it is. Like, it's definitely like Criminal Minds, so don't think it's not. Like, I thought it was gonna be a general, like, more, like a toned down version of Criminal Minds, but a little bit less, I don't want to say gory, because gory is not the word, because it's not gory, but like creepy, I should say. Like, Criminal Minds be creeping me out, so I had to stop watching it. But like, this is genuinely like Criminal Minds, but with younger kids. So they're like 17, but literally it's like Criminal Minds. Like, so they don't think it's not. Okay, I gave it 5 stars though, because I thought it was such a good time. Alright, then I read, this is when I started to get into, I was like, okay, let me focus on my ratings, because I probably would have given this 5 stars if I was being generous, but I'm like, honestly, like, it didn't give that 5-star vibe. But then I read Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I enjoyed this book. I thought it was great. I listened to it on Audible. I feel like this is just so long. But honestly, this is a long one where I didn't mind it too much. I wanted to keep reading other stuff, so that's why I minded it, but like, genuinely, it wasn't that bad. And I have, like, when I'm sitting down, I like, honestly, I want to read the second one already, but it's on my, January TBR. so I will read it. But I wanted to read it. I wanted to read it like really fast because I was like, really enjoying it, and I want to see what comes next and the whole nine. And so it's YA. These are like younger kids, and they're not young kids. I don't know how old they are. Maybe like 16 or something like that. But it's just that these kids do have superpowers. This is sci-fi. I don't know what makes it sci-fi, but it is sci-fi. And maybe it's because they're superpowers and not magic, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so basically there's a team called the Renegades, and then there's the villains that are the bad people. I don't even want to tell you like who's on what side because it's fun, it's fresh. I feel like you would love it. People would love it. I didn't realize that came out in like 2017. Wow, that's insane. But it's a good time. I'm excited to read the next one. I gave it 4 stars. I just felt like, again, it was long, it was young. It's not my favorite book of the whole 9. Like, I'm not sitting here like thinking about this all the time. YA to me just never hits the way like an adult book hits, and I know like a lot of people disagree, which is fine, be like that. Someone said that the other day. They were just kind of like, honestly, I don't like YA books that much. I'm like, honestly, I agree. There's a little bit of romance. I thought there was gonna be none, and I'm like, how do you write a book without romance? I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but there is a little bit of romance. Okay, then I read a whole bunch of books, but I'm gonna save those. Next I read at the end, well, whatever. I eventually read What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. I actually listened to this on Audible. I wasn't going to read it this month. I thought I wasn't, but then I was like, I really am in the mood for this. I am so mad about this book. I genuinely think that books, you need to have a strong ending. I feel like for me, my personal preference, I will give a book 5 stars or like a good rating if the ending is so good, even if it starts off slow or a little bit like, not my favorite. If the ending is good, it can pick it up. The problem with this, I felt like, was the ending was not good. Not good. I feel like it definitely was its downfall because I was in this book. I was addicted. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so much fun. Like you enjoy it. You're like, what's gonna happen? There's a little bit of like mystery, but also there's like a little bit of romance. There's a little bit of everything. A little bit of mystery, a little bit of romance. There's so many cultures you see in this. It's so much fun. She's actually from Argentina, and but she's going, I think, to Egypt. I think it's Egypt. But like there's so many things. But then the main guy character, he's like British. So it's like you get so many different like cultures. It's so much fun. I did listen to this, so you get to hear all their accents. But I think the way she just built this world was incredible. So we get all the way to like, on Audible, there's an hour left of the book. So I'm like, there was probably like that means like 200 pages left. No, 150 pages left. I don't know. There's not a lot of the book left. We get there, and I'm like, why is there still an hour left? We could just close this, end it, and we're done. Or, if you want to make a second book, that's fine. Like, we could have just closed it there. The last hour was honestly a hot mess. It's like, this girl couldn't get a break. Like, she's going through this whole thing. Like, this whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And then this is a plot twist. Okay, wow, that's insane, that's fun, that's fresh, whatever. Then this is a plot twist. Then there's a plot twist. Then this is a plot, then and you're like, okay. The last hour was just giving chaos. I really wanted to just finish the book. I was like, okay, I'm done. There's a second book, and I'm like, I don't even want to read it because I thought the second book was about someone, but it's not, because this author wanted to be insane and do something crazy at the end that was stupid, and I did not agree with at all. So I'm like, honestly, I enjoyed this book, and then we got to the last hour. So honestly, I gave this book 3.5 stars. Again, I really did enjoy the beginning. Probably would knock it down to 3 stars, because I honestly think that this is a problem. Like, what rating do I not recommend? Because I feel like you might want to read this book. If you really don't, like, you're not gonna care that much. But like, honestly, it's like, it's stupid too, because then it's like it leaves on such a big cliffhanger that it's annoying that the second book doesn't come out until November, which means literally next year. It's literally November just passed. So it's like, it's annoying, genuinely. So the ending was like really got me, and I was like, yeah, I feel like I would rather, again, a strong ending than a strong beginning. Although this one had a strong beginning, I feel like she could have ended it way better. So anyway, 3.5 stars I gave that. Do not really, I mean, and I don't want to say I don't recommend it. Like, read it. because this author, I feel like she can, I don't know how many books she has. Maybe I feel like she has a few actually that I saw. But either way, I feel like read it, then we can work on it. Anyway, the series that I kind of read. So I started the series on the 28th. I'm now 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm definitely like 6 or 7 books in. I'm on book 7, but I haven't finished it when I am filming this. Literally 7 books in to the series. I'm literally on book 7. I read 6 of these books. I'll pop in a picture. These are the Ice Planet Barbarians. Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I am just, it's insane. It is insane, but honestly, it is so funny. So, we read the first one, which is just called Ice Planet Barbarians. Basically, a bunch of girls get taken by aliens. These aliens are really bad. I wish the author wouldn't have, she made them really bad. Like, and obviously, like, I feel like they were alien enough that, like, they didn't need to be that insane, but they were, like, really bad, and I wish she didn't write that, because a little bit, it could be triggering for some. I was a little bit, like, turned off by it. Like, obviously, it's a thing that happens, but, like, I felt like with a book like this, it didn't need awareness, you know what I mean, in this kind of book. But anyway, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But anyway, so the beginning I didn't love, but then ever you get past the beginning, so these aliens, and basically what happens is these aliens take whatever, these people, then their ship crashes. So then these girls, a whole bunch of girls, land on this ice planet with barbarians. So then this first book is the first girl. She's kind of becomes the leader of the humans, and she ends up going and running into this guy. This alien, this barbarian. He doesn't speak English. They don't speak the same language. I love that aspect to it. So these are they're open door, they're spicy. That's what they're meant to be, basically. So if you don't like that, obviously, then definitely skip. I 110%, but I stand behind this, that if these books did not have a good storyline, I would have stopped reading them. But because it is just so unique. So they land on this freaking ice planet. They don't speak English. They're far from Earth. Like, there are so many things. There's so many aspects that I love, that I just want to know more. So apparently there's this thing called, I think it's the Renaissance, something like that. I feel like when I read words, sometimes I just, like, you know, you just skim them, but whatever. It's called Ren and something like that. Anyway, so there's this thing that basically, they get this, they have to, the planet will kill them if they don't get this, like, it's basically a worm, but it goes in them, and then it helps their immune system, and basically, like, you know, helps them to heal and all this good stuff, and, like, faster, and, like, they get to more immune to the cold or whatever. So there's that thing in them, but that thing that's in them will connect to a male's little worm, and then they're, like, mates. And I'm like, yeah, so it'll, like, vibrate or whatever when, like, they're allowed to make a kid, and when they're allowed to make a kid, when their bodies are ready to, like, make a kid, because obviously they want to, the goal is that they live. What is the word? Not I guess reproduce, but, like, so that they live. They don't go extinct. So basically that's what happens. And so all these girls are like, what the heck? Because these are all barbarian aliens. But it's a good time. I thought the first book was good. It caught me. The second book, I feel like honestly, I like the second book a lot. I've heard a lot of people who don't like, I think Heather McGlary didn't like this one, because I saw her comment on the thing after I read it, but I was like, honestly, I really like this one. The second one, her name is Liz, and, her barbarian takes her. So he literally snatches homegirl up, and it's honestly, I thought it was so much fun. Like I was saying, I love that they can't speak the same language, because eventually they figure out, I won't tell you that if you want to know how they figure out, but eventually they figure it out, so don't worry, they're not the whole time not speaking in the same language, but, they still don't know the words, like, certain words. So the humans will say something, and the barbarians are like, huh? And so it's just so freaking funny. I literally laughed so hard. The thing about this too is that's nice. These are very short. They're like 200 pages. Some of them, I think the one I'm reading now is the most, and it's like close to 300. It's over 300 pages or something like that. But for the most part, they're less than 200 pages, 250 pages. Like, they're not long, which is how I read so many. But I don't know, what was I saying? Oh, that's the good thing about them, is that since they're so short, but since they're all on this ice planet and all these girls landed together, each book is a different girl, obviously, but you get to see all the rest of the girls. So, like, the first girl, obviously is in the second one and the third one and the fourth one. Apparently there are 21 books, 21 of these books. I don't know if I'm gonna read all 21, but I'm already on 7. So I don't know where we're going from here, but honestly, it's just so entertaining. It's so hard. I'm like, honestly, this is a guilty pleasure here because these are so entertaining, and I'm like, I just want to be on an ice planet. I want to be on an ice planet because, again, the guys are so cute. Anyway, so then I read Barbarian Lover. So it's Ice Planet Barbarians, Barbarian Alien, Barbarian Lover. What was this one? They just all do different things. So, like, some of them, they're all basically the same story over and over, but some of them are, like, the girls will fight it's the Renegades, something like that. They'll fight it, and they don't want it. Other ones are, like, they don't care. They're like, oh, yay. They're just different stories. When we have Barbarian, what does that say? I don't know what that says. Barbarian Mine. Then we have, I didn't write either of these. Oh my gosh, yeah, I read a lot of books. 1, 2. I guess I said 17, right? 17 to 18, whatever. I read the first 7, and they're entertaining. Again, they're a lot of fun because, again, their aliens are so freaking funny, and just watching them, like, try to figure that out is so funny. And they're very just, like, I don't want to say chill. They're pretty fast-paced. I honestly read them overnight. This is why I'm so exhausted right now, because literally I cannot stop reading them. But also, like, if I start reading them, it's really hard to, like, find a spot to stop. I'm trying to think of which one was my least favorite. Barbarian Mine, I don't remember again, they all, like, jumbled together. Let me see. I don't know. I was like, I think I gave this 3 stars, but for the most part, honestly, like, if I'm being 100%, they're between, like, 3 and 4 stars. I gave one 5 stars, the second one 5 stars. It's not really 5 stars. It's such a short book. You can't really give it 5 stars, but, like, they're, like, 3 to 4 stars. I think in general, they're just, like, entertaining. They're really not meant to be, like, this hardcore rating, like, do you really need to read? Like, I don't think it's like that. It's just very chill, like, read it if you want to. Like, I feel like you can't go in there expecting much because they're so short, and it's freaking aliens that don't speak English. Like, it's just, like, if you have a standard, that's on you, not the book. Like, they're just very chill. Anyway, I talked a lot about those because I read so many of them, but honestly, they're such a good time. I'm like, freaking Planet. Honestly, though, there is inspiring my book a little bit, the book I want to write a little bit, because again, I love this language barrier. I love it because they have to figure out different ways to communicate. And I love it because it's funny. It is so freaking funny when they say something and they're like, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know how to explain it, because then they realize too how many figures of speech people say in general that, like, don't make sense. Say just crazy figures. I don't even know what a good example was. She called him hot. She was like, oh my gosh, you're hot. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, are you, like, you're too hot? Like, and then he like, gets away from her. She's like, no, like, I'm telling you, like, you're attractive, whatever. But it was so funny. Anyway. Alright, that was a lot. I read a lot of books this month. I'm excited to see what other books I read in other months. I'm excited to see, what my January reading wrap-up looks like, not gonna lie, because I have some good books on my TBR. If you have not seen my TBR jar video, it is up on my channel as well. Okay, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in my next one. Bye, nerds!